Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? I hope pretty odd situation how we're locked down, but we have to manage those devices, huh? Hopefully we have some good stuff for you today, and we're going to be having Vikram Goyal, product manager for ZENworks, do a short demonstration for us on some of the features that are in 2020. We appreciate you here. I know you guys are probably even more busy since you have to work from home and trying to get everybody together and working out there being administrators of them. So we do thank you guys, for attending. Micro Focus is fully staffed here to help you. So feel free to give us a call, ask questions. We're here for you. ZENcast is a place where ZENworks administrators can come in and participate, talk, discuss. We'll talk about anything you want ZENworks. So we're here to help you out. We don't want to make this the break fix solution for you as far as finding out where your solutions are, but I do want to say that this will help enhance knowing where those areas are that can help you as far as documentation and opening SRs, ideas portals. So be sure to still use those, but please come in and join us here so that we can just figure out what you need. Make sure that we have what you need so that you can move forward in managing those devices. Be sure to ask questions in chat. We'll try to answer along the way. If I miss them, I'll get back to you. But go ahead also, when this recording is complete, we'll be able to go ahead and publish it out on YouTube, and you can ask questions in there, and we follow up with questions there as well. Also, any links that we have to different areas of our presentation will also be in that description down there. I'm currently doing the what do you call it? The tropical day today, and if I go out, I use my tropical mask. So be safe out there. Be sure to protect yourself, protect your family, and we'll get through this together. So stay strong. Moving on, as we're reaching you, are we reaching you? Are we giving you the right data? Feel free to email me at paul.pedron@microfocus.com if you have any suggestions for this stream. If there are things you'd like to see. Also, if you fill out this survey, hang on, let me get this. If you fill out this survey in the link, you'll be able to give us those details as well. So you don't have to email me directly. You can just go to the survey and I'll pick those up. So a few housekeeping things. Commands are with an exclamation point. So you saw a poll come through and people are voting for where they are, basically just trying to get an idea where everybody's visiting from today. So exclamation vote and then whatever the poll is. Also, there are other things like @ username. If you see somebody commenting and you want to respond directly to them, you can do @, start typing their name, and it'll give them a highlight that they know that they have a one-on-one conversation with you, or at least it's directed towards them. And then, again, we'll be posting this stream and publishing this stream soon after we do our recording today. What do we got? Last week we had a great demonstration from Jason Blackett with ZRS. Go back and review it. He went from beginning to end basically on ZENworks reporting, almost even into some of the advanced stuff. There is a lot of documentation out there on the community forums as well that supports this, and he's put a lot of it out there himself. So if you're looking at ZRS reporting, you own it. If you have ZENworks, you own it. So take advantage of it. Get those detailed reports that you need, whether it's for patching, whether it's for tracking CVEs, whether it's bundle, administrators, whatever. You can really get detailed in those reports. Doing inventory reporting, finding out how many retired devices you need for next year, those types of things can really come in handy with ZRS. You can get those reports. So it has a lot of flexibility. We thank him for coming out. This week we're going to have Vikram Goyal. He's product manager for ZENworks, configuration manager as well, and doing a small demonstration on some of the enhancements. Let's go through a few news items first. So let me get over to my news feed. We're going to talk about, let's see, so remember the forums and articles are out there. The ZENworks community, ZENworks webinars. I didn't put in the ideas portal in here. It's there as well. It is still being reviewed. They've been doing a lot of enhancements through that because that's your suggestions. The more votes it gets, the more attention it gets. However, all of them are read, and sometimes they can't get them into the code because of the type of coding and the complexity of it, but they definitely look at them all and really try to enhance the product so that you can get your features in. The knowledge base, technical information documents, the TIDs are out there. Feel free to go out to the knowledge base, documentation as well. So we'll cover a couple of those. I think I actually have, we're going to go to, oh, no, I don't have that one up. Okay, I thought I had my web browser up. Again, upgrade cookbooks are out there. Those are the TIDs there for ZCM and Service Desk. I'm starting to work on one for ZRS, so be aware that that's coming. Also, in this time of COVID, I mean, offsite communication is critical. All your devices have now left the campus, and you're trying to get in. So, what are your system upgrade scenarios for some of those? Are your certs expiring? Make sure you check your certs expiring so that we can get those updated. There's a standalone installer. If you can't get them through the firewall, you can send them a file so that when they do come back on site, they can connect to ZENworks without a problem. And the DMZ documentation is out there. So under best practices, under the 2020, double check the best practices, and there's a DMZ documentation about your server, how to set it up, and those types of things. So I want to let you know that we know it's become a challenge. We're not used to having all our devices off-site, but there are ways for ZENworks to still function, remote control through join proxy, those types of things as you move forward through this COVID-19, and then they come back. The one thing I just want to stress is we've had a couple customers where certificates were expiring. So we want to make sure those don't expire so that your devices don't come back and you'd have to touch them. Okay. I think I see Mark joined and Jose joined. Appreciate you joining. Valerie, good to hear from you, Valerie. Thanks for coming in. You were probably out at the TTP in Europe. I miss going out there, but this year wasn't able to do it, obviously. So we are having another, let me go through, that reminds me. The webinar series recordings. Q4 is out there. There's a link. Q1 for 2020 is here. Recent recordings, anything from imaging was a big one this last time, to endpoint management, roadmap review, application packaging. There's a few of them out there that are recent that really are good. The call out to all us engineers has been put out there for Q2. So we'll have a Q2 upcoming webinars coming soon. So stay tuned for that. We want to get you that information. If you have suggestions, feel free to email myself or email Zen at Microfocus, or put it on the YouTube comments down below. Okay, we're happy to accommodate those if we can get them in. Another part of the community talk is ZENworks configuration management. 2020 Update 1 Lighthouse program is coming. Registration is zen at microfocus.com. If you're going to participate in the Lighthouse, it's best if you're a part of the beta, because you have those and you understand those enhancements and you've been working with us to understand what's going to be put in Update 1. But feel free to register at zen at microfocus.com. That's basically where a couple weeks prior to public release, where we have it pretty much locked down, we have an engineer walk you through, help you go through the install, and then if there's any issues, you have a direct line to engineers and developers to make sure we get that fixed. So target public release is May of 2020. So it's coming up. Update 1. PRU April 2020 just was released. Obviously, beginning of the month, every month, April, the PRUs are released. That's a product recognition unit. So if you go to your system update and you check to see if there's any updates, PRU will come in. ZENworks Patch Management add-on subscription for Windows 7 and Server 2008. The extended security updates has been released. Feel free to talk to your representative to get that that product if you're going to. It's an additional subscription, so it is an additional cost if you do that. But that doesn't mean you can't bring them in manually and package them up and post them as a patch yourself. So if you're fluent in patch management or you want to do that, there are techniques to do that. And again, the community forums has that out there, as well as the documentation. So be aware that that's there. ZENworks reporting server security patches were released. Check out the online updates. So occasionally go out on your appliance and check the online updates so that you can get those security updates. ZCM DB migration tool. Version 3 is out there. If you go to your portals, I checked this morning, DB Migration 3.0 is available. So you'll be able to do Sybase, MS SQL, or Oracle all going to Postgres. Make sure you have version 3 to do Oracle because it was the latest one that was released. And don't forget about the Windows operating systems, the end of life. Okay, there are some coming up that are going end of life. So be sure to double check what you have on campus so that you can keep up with that. I know can be drudgery sometimes. Trying to keep all that in queue. ZENworks Service Desk 8.1.2 was released in January. 8.2 target public release is late summer. That's where they have completed the technical portal or technician portal, and it's all basically one big happy family. Right now, we're kind of between the two because of the coding. They're completing the coding by this summer, though. So look for that. ZSD Appliance security updates again was released. Next will be released in May. They're doing a 3-month cadence. So if you haven't done it recently, go out there and check your security updates on your online updates. And then there is a DB migration tool to Postgres for that particular product as well. So if you're moving off of some of the major platforms for databases and trying to go to a less cost for Postgres, feel free. We're trying to make those things happen for you. So thank you, development, for getting those taken care of. Next is, the ZENcast YouTube channel. We're here through April 27th. We're going to continue, and then we'll figure out what our cadence will be. That last one will probably announce how we're moving forward with this ZENcast, if it was popular enough, if people want to have it and want to continue with it. Then we'll have that for April 27th. So mark that date. That's probably when you'll get some type of idea of what the cadence will be, how often we'll do it. We've done it in 2 months just to see how well it's received. So we appreciate any and all comments, likes, or subscribes. Please do that, and then fill out that survey if you can. That'll be very helpful to us. Micro Focus Virtual Universe. We had one out in EMEA. Now we're having one in USA. It's going to be virtual as well in May. So what makes it nice is those that missed the EMEA virtual, you can go ahead and sign up for USA when they're doing it out there, and see all the different types of products that we have combined into one conference, so that you can see the different types of things that can help you administer your particular environment. TTP 2020 USA will be going virtual. So it's July 13th through 17th. It's typically in Provo, Utah. This time it'll be virtual. Registration will be soon. They're working on details on figuring out how that registration is going to work. But look for it soon. It's gonna happen. those are the news feeds we have for today. I don't see any comments in chat, so we're going to go back over to our display, our next display, and we have Vikram Goyal on with us today. Vikram, how are you doing? Oh, let me get you centered here. I don't have you centered. Hang on. We got your left ear. Hang on. The square went real big on me. Ah, that's better. Yeah. So good. So Vikram, you're ZENworks product manager for configuration management. He was here a couple of weeks ago and discussed stuff about ZENworks 2020. How you doing? How you doing over there? Yeah. Yeah. You're working through it. I know your engineers are doing a great job still processing stuff and working from home. I know that can be difficult at times. I know you have a live demonstration for us today. We have there's some new things in 2020 you want to expose, and I know like endpoint security management components and patch together. You combine those two on the navigation page to the security, right? And what's your thought process behind that? Yeah, everybody. And I really like how they, yeah, I think so too. I really being and it popping up in the security dashboards. You get those dashboards dialed in, your custom dashboards, depending on your environment, and you bring up security. You can then see right front what's going on in your environment. So that's a great move. So there's custom dashlets, there's CVE patch and patch tracking. We got the extended security updates for Windows 7 in queue. So I know the ZCM, security team is really working hard getting some of that stuff in place. So that's great. Oh, hang on a second. I got somebody that's saying that they're unable to hear Vikram. Hold on a second. Did I miss something? Let's try now. Vikram, go ahead and talk.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. I can hear you now. I think we just had a little bit of, I didn't have the volume on for you. I apologize for that. Just apologize. Valerie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're going to back up.
Do you want me to start over?
Yeah, let's back up just a little bit. We were talking a little bit about security and how the security we combined everything into security and why we did that. What's the back steps for that?
Okay, so ZenWorks already always had a lot of security capabilities in place. So we did have the endpoint security management through which you can really lock down to the device to an extent. We had a full description which helps you secure the device, make sure that they are fully encrypted. And obviously with the patch management capability, you can ensure that the device are remain patched and again secure from any kind of hacking or the vulnerabilities which came in. So when we actually brought in capability for the CVE, which is the which added another dimension to how you can actually view the status of the patching in your environment. We thought it fit that it makes sense for us to bring all these components together. So let's say when an administrator comes in, they don't really need to search around in different tabs just to find the overall security exposure of their environment, but instead they can actually do it in one single place. So that's actually one of the fundamental reasons that why we brought in all these things together and gave them their own dashboards and put them in one single place, so that as a ZenWorks admin can actually refer to all things security in one place rather than having to search around.
Yeah, it's really been nice because as soon as you click on your security there, if you get those dialed in, those dashboards dialed in, I think it really helps you see what your environment has. So that's really good. And I mean, sure, we wanted to rush, but I mean, 2020 had things like the patch scan quick tasks, where quick tasks. Prior to 2020, the web services took care of the quick tasks. And now we have the Zeus taking care of those duties. So it's been a performance enhancement in those areas. Some of the things
Definitely.
yes, some of those things, other things like applying patches on shutdown. I mean, who's been looking for that? I mean, that's been
a lot
great.
of people, I should say that.
Yeah. So that's great that they're actually dialing into those details. Endpoint security even has file and folder encryption along with portable device options. So now we've received that, so you can actually do file and folder encryption too. So that's been fantastic. But we're going to get to the ZCM MDM enrollment part of it. If you just joined us, sorry about the microphone issue, but if you're joining us, Vikram Goyal, the product manager for ZENworks Configuration Management, has joined us today to discuss some of the 2020 Windows 10 MDM news. We have a live demonstration for you. He's gonna show us a couple of things about taking the native Windows 10 MDM and how we're leveraging them in ZENworks. Vikram, go ahead and tell us about the leveraging of the MDM, the Windows 10 MDM native.
Okay, great. So let me take a step back. So I'm not sure if the people are aware of it, but Windows 10 devices, all of the Windows 10 devices, they come natively built in with a capability where they can be managed without having a really agent on the device. So Windows 10 has an inbuilt MDM agent, which just can be configured. And once configured, it opens up a whole lot of capabilities which can be deployed or enforced on the device without having any other agent or any other software being there, management software being there. So we believe this is something which is really going to come in handy, and we definitely believe that this is the way the future of the endpoint management is going to be. And it is for that reason which we started working on on bringing these capabilities into the ZENworks. So if you could see it, this is something like the way which we started getting in the MDM capabilities, which is the mobile management capabilities into ZENworks. So the way we see it, it's not really going to be one release exercise. Never it was, because there's so much stuff to be done for us to actually start doing it. So we decided to do it in parts over a set of the multiple releases. And ZENworks 2020 was the first release in which we got the features in some shape where we believe that the administrators can go ahead and try it out and get a taste for how the things are going to be in future. So as part of ZENworks 2020, what we got in the capability is that you can actually take a Windows 10 device and enroll it within ZENworks using the Windows 10 MDM agent capabilities. So
wait. Are you talking where you don't have to deploy the ZENworks agent?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So agentless management of Windows 10?
Yes, actually.
Wow.
So you
All
can
right.
actually, so, so let me just I'll just give me a minute.
Sure,
I'll just
please.
walk you through that. So that's uh, so to get around that, so you actually have to start with the configuration process. So there's some initial set of the configuration which you really need to do. So we have actually exposed these things as part of a configuration setting here. So just to remind you, so this is ZENworks 2020 build, which you are seeing. So these capabilities do exist in a build, which is
The
publicly
current
available.
bill. Sure.
Yes, ZENworks 2020 current build. And if the people are willing, they can actually go ahead and try these things out right now. So when you go into the configure, so this actually lists a set of the steps. So basically, what actually it means to configure a Windows 10 device to talk agentlessly back to an MDM server like ZENworks is that it needs to be there's an agent on it, and it needs some kind of the settings or the profile which needs to be configured to talk in, so that it can actually establish contact with ZENworks server, and it can be managed. So this particular part lists down a set of the steps. So there are many ways to actually do this particular scenario, but what we are right now trying to bring in as part of ZENworks 2020, and for which the instructions are given, is something akin to a bulk enrollment. So the basic of this goes like this: is that you create something like a provisioning package, and which I'm sure that the people who have been imaging computers, they are really familiar with the provisioning package. So you
Sure,
just create
sure.
a provisioning package, you embed it as part of your image, and when it actually the image gets deployed, the provisioning package will execute, and upon execution, the device will get enrolled into ZENworks. So that's the
Wow.
basic part of it. So it's as simple as that. So you just need to have another package which you just need to deploy, and you are done with it. So in this today's demo, I'm not really going to show you the imaging way, but I'm still going to show you a couple of other ways in which you can take this particular package and deploy it onto a device and still have it managed. So the first part, so if you go over here, this doesn't really list on the full documentation because there's so many, there are quite a set of the steps. So if you click on the link over here, uh, you will be taken to a ZENworks documentation site where you can actually find out how to go about creating the provisioning package in the first place. So let's go about doing this. And so this is set of the settings. So the key thing what you need to create a provisioning package is a Windows configuration designer. So this is something which you can download and install. So it is freely available if you and you can download and install. So this is something what it is. At earlier times, this used to be called as a Windows ICD, but right now that's how it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a project which is already. Let's start about creating a new project. So I'll just create a new project, and you can go about doing it next. And I will say this is a provisioning package. And so here you can choose the Windows editions for which you're creating it. And I'm not really going to create one, so import one. So I'm just go ahead and do this. So here are a set of the settings which you can configure. And as people who are using it, they can definitely, there's so many set of the settings which can be configured. So, but we'll quickly focus on the things which we need over here. So this is a set of the steps. If I switch back to the registration key, so the first thing you need to define out is a registration key. So now, one thing which we need to remember is that this device is going to enroll back into the ZENworks. So obviously, it needs some kind of authentication because we can't really let want an unauthenticated device to be registered back. And just like the ZENworks concept, it definitely needs something like either a registration key or registration rule to be effective. So for this scenario, what you will need is a registration key. So obviously, you can actually go ahead into ZENworks and create a registration key. And I'll just fill in the registration key as part of the here. So let's start with the runtime settings and workplace. So this is a workplace. Here I'll go about creating a UPN. So UPN is any kind of the name which you can do. So I can, let's say, give in ZenMDM, and this was something which will be visible on the device. And once I select the UPN, I can fill in the rest of the set of the policies. So if I go to the auth policy, I need to say this is on-premise, and this is a discovery service URL. So this is available on your ZENworks portal. So I can copy the URL right from here and paste it over here. And the next thing what we need to do is that we need to download the root certificate. So the secret and the secret part. So the secret in this case is essentially the registration key. So I have already had a registration key which is created. So I'll just go and fill that in. Okay. I'm sorry for switching back and forth so much, but yes. The next part was the certificate. So I'll go back into the certificates and I'll say which is the root certificate. And I can just say this is my ZenCA certificate. I'll go ahead and add it. And once I add it, I can actually provide a certificate path. So which in this case, I can just go ahead and browse for it and so on and so forth. And that's it. Once you do this thing, what you can do is that you can go and save it. And that's it. And at this point at the time, you can just go ahead and export this provisioning package. So this will become another export, which you can just give in a name. And so if you want this to be signed out, so you can actually use a certificate to encrypt it and sign it. But in this scenario, we are not really going to do that. And you just go ahead about it building it. It builds pretty quickly. So once it's built, it's available in a location where now it is available for you to embed it. So at this point in the time, so this is the certificate PPKG package, which is demo ZENcast and something which I've created. And at this point in the time, what you can do is that you can take this particular package and embed it in an image or deploy it in through other means. So today we are going to see it in two different ways how we can actually deploy this package and get the device enrolled.
Before we go too far, if I'm watching right now, I'm looking for that build package tool. Where would I find that? Is that just downloadable?
Yeah, so this is a free tool. So this is a Windows configuration designer. And let's say if you search for it.
So it's native Microsoft product.
Yeah, that's a native Microsoft product. So you can just download it and install it.
So we're just leveraging that. Very good. Thank you.
Right. So it's a free product. So no money needs to be paid, fortunately for this one.
Beautiful.
So you just go ahead. So now if you see, so that's where we actually, so using that tool, we created this PPKG package. This is a provisioning package. And now what we are going to, and this, as I mentioned, can be embedded in the image. And that would be the more useful way. But here I'm going to show you in a slightly different way how, just to say that, okay, how this works. So if you see over here, I have one device, and this is 4M device. And if you see, this is already a ZENworks agent registered. So this is not the device which we're going to do anything with right now. We are going to deploy it to another device. So let me go back to my VMs and so this is my Windows 10 device, and as you can see, this name of the device is 3M and not the 4M, the one which we saw.
Sure.
And this is a device which we are going to register today. And what I've done is I've actually taken the liberty of taking that PPKG package and putting it on the device itself. So if I go over here, I can see this PPKG package. So obviously this is not the same name what we just created. So that was a test run, and this is another one, but
sure,
it has the same set of properties, just to make sure for the.
Thank you.
So what we will do is that before I click on it, I'll show you where and how you can actually see where will this come in. So all the Windows 10 devices, there's an option called a setting called Access Worker the School, and that's where you will see the magic actually happening. So if you see over here, this particular device is already attached to my local AD box, and right, so that's it. So there are many ways in which you can actually now get this package installed. So one of the ways is something that you can do it through add and remove a provisioning package. And here I can just select this package and it will do the needful, but I'm going to do a little bit differently. I mean, I can right now just double click on the package and it will get installed. So it will. So is this package from a source you trust? So the reason why it's asking me this question is this: I'd never signed this package, but if I had signed this package using a trusted certificate, I would not really be seeing this particular pop-up in the place.
Sure.
Right. And so I clicked on yes, add it, and I think that's just about it. So at this point of the time, what we will do is I'll go back, and if I see here, you see it's connected to ZENworks MDM, and this is the info. And so this, and if you see, this is managed by ZENworks now. And this tells me my management server address and device sync status, and so on and so forth. So the next thing is that does this actually appears in my workstations folder here, which ideally it should if I, oh God. Let's see, go back and see why it's not appearing.
There's the 3M, yep.
Yeah, so ideally this should have come in. I'm not really sure.
That's all right.
You know, I never did my thing to the demo gods.
Yeah, I know about those. Well, let's go on with 4M and show us what we can do now that it's in. 4M is in. I think I lost you. Oh. Sorry, chat. We are currently having an interruption. Let's wait for Vikram to come back on. Otherwise, yeah, so he was demonstrating the being able to actually enroll an MDM device without having too much ZENworks. There he is. Hang on. Let me tell him to call back. Anyway, his MDM device, he was actually doing enrolling an MDM device, a Windows 10 device, without deploying or discovering the using ZENworks. He just put it in the image. There's different ways you can do it. Put it in the image. You can, as you saw, force the enrollment, those types of things. Anyway, let's see if he comes back. Hello, Elaine. How you doing? We're still waiting on Vikram to come back. So at this time, a couple of things while we fill in some time. Oh, there he is. Let's see if we can get him back. Dun da da. Technical difficulties, but we can overcome them. I see you now. Yep. No worries. Right. So I was saying, let's say that you did that with 4M, and 4M is now in. What can we do with it? It's just another device? Okay. All right. Please, Les. Right.
and obviously there are so many other things which a ZENworks agent, having a ZENworks agent on the device can do. So what you will most likely will want is having a best of both worlds. You will definitely want to have ZENworks agent also on the device and also to enroll such devices into the Windows MDM
Okay.
itself.
I,
Right, that's something I believe
I'll
would be
need
a
you.
very good use case for our administrators.
Sure. I'll need you to repeat. This is right now for 2020. It's experimental, but in update 2, we'll be able to leverage ZENworks Insight for these objects. Correct? I had you on mute. So.
Oh, not a problem. So yes, so the capability which you just saw is there in the 2020. So as part of that capability in 2020, you can just enroll the devices, and you can't really do much with it. But obviously, that's something which we are trying to which we are working on, and those are the KIPs. So the things which you can actually do on a device. Let's say you can deploy an application, apply a policy, or apply some settings, and all those good stuff. So that's going to come in as part of the ZENworks 2020 update 2, which is later this year.
Very good. That'll
Okay.
really that's good to know.
Right.
But they can
And
play
so
with
the
it
one
now.
thing,
They can enroll now and kind of get used to
yeah, so
some of that configuration and that tool.
yeah, so they can actually plan for it if they want to. They can play with it and see how the things work, and so all those things is possible. So I just also wanted to demonstrate another way in which you can actually enroll these devices. So what we just saw before we went blank was agentless enrollment, where we were just directly enrolling the device without being a ZENworks agent in the place. But obviously, ZENworks agent confers so much more capability that I'm sure that there are a lot of the scenarios where you will like to have best of both worlds, where you
Of
can
course.
actually have ZENworks agent on them and also manage the device using the ZENworks MDM per se itself. So that's what we are trying to trying to show you. So what I've done in this right now is that I've actually created a bundle, which is a ZENworks bundle. And as part of the bundle, what I've done is I've actually deploying the provisioning package to the agent itself. So this is a script which just has a set of the PowerShell command, which will just install this package onto the device. And what I'm really going to do now is I'm going to add this package, this bundle to a device, and we'll just go ahead and install it. So all done. At this point at the time, what we will do is that we will go back to this 4M device. The one which we saw was a ZENworks agent, already has a ZENworks agent on it. And we'll go ahead and just refresh the device. So just for the good measure, what we will do. We'll refresh the device so it gets the latest set of the assignments. And as you see, the bundle came in.
Yeah.
And it should get installed. So again, similarly, if I go to the work part over here, the one which we saw on that device, we will now see soon enough that something does happen. Just give me a second. Whether it went through or not. This is okay. Never got installed. Let me repair it just to make sure it gets installed. And see, once this package is delivered, it gets installed. And the good thing, what you're going to see over here is that when I go to this particular device itself, I'm not going to have two objects, though it is being now managed by two different agents. One is a Windows 10 agent and another is a ZENworks agent. You don't really see two objects. What we have done is that we have reconciled this thing into a single object itself.
Oh.
And when you go into the agent device itself, you can see that there's a settings called MDM enroll where you see is yes, and the necessary details. So our philosophy on doing this has been that even though you can manage a device in many different ways, you should still be managing a single device. And we want to make it as seamless as possible to do different things. So we want to ZENworks take care of that. Okay, what action can be performed using, say, Windows 10 MTM, and what things can be performed using ZENworks Agent. So that intelligence should be there in the ZENworks side of things, and you really need not bother that. Okay, hey, I want to do this thing. What should I use? So it's a single object for you to manage.
So in thinking a little bit deeper, you can still have the GPOs that are normally in the environment managed through the Windows 10 along with the ZENworks agent. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. All that is possible. So still a single object for you to manage.
That's fantastic.
So that's another one of the ways in which you can straight away. So the one which we talk about, the provisioning package, right? The one which we showed you. So that is something where it can be used where you are actually reimaging the newer set of the devices. So you can actually take the package and embed them in. But if you already have these packages, if you already have the devices and you still want to roll this thing out, so just create a bundle, embed the package in, and just send it on its way.
Beautiful.
It will be done.
That's a beautiful thing. So you can actually tally up all the Windows. So that I'm thinking back when I was an administrator, we have some devices that we could not put the agent on because they were in a lab environment where they did particular tasks and but we could now enroll them and know about them. And also they become in the zone so you can find out when they retire and all that stuff, but yet we're still conforming to the security of not having ZENworks agent on it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you can do that.
It's fantastic. That's beautiful. So, and this is in update 2. We'll be able to enhance that, right? We're gonna.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Then you can do quick tasks on it, send more things on it, deploy applications. So one of the things which we are believing is that let's say if you can start out by having no agent on the device, you can enroll using a Windows 10 MTM, and maybe then you can deploy ZENworks agent on that using the Windows 10 MTM capability.
Sure. Oh, that makes sense. That's a great enhancement. I know that I remember needing something similar to that when I was a customer of ZENworks. So thank you for working on that. And it's native to Microsoft, right? So it works out real well.
Yeah.
So let me. I know that's probably. Do you have anything else to demo?
No.
All right. So let me pry a little bit. So update 1 is coming, right? It passed beta and it's going into Lighthouse soon. And so what are some of the things? I know we have the patch workflow for Windows 7, certificate remint. MDM versus non-MDM. They're doing some changes in that as well. There's some platform support for iPad and iOS 13 provisioning. Can you tell us a little bit about some of that stuff?
So let me start with the iPad OS. So Apple released a new platform. So it bifurcated the existing iOS platform into two: one iOS for the iPhones and the iPad OS for the iPad OS devices. And so last year was the preliminary release, so there was not really much differences. But as we expect that going forward, they will be differentiating these two platforms more and more. So we are already hearing rumors that the iPad OS may actually get a mouse support if you search the internet.
Oh, okay.
Think about that. So that's something which may be coming in. So so that we believe then, since if the Apple is going to bifurcate these platforms, so we should make sure that even within ZENworks, that should be the case. So that's why we have brought in support for iPad OS within ZENworks.
Beautiful.
2020 update 1. So this iPad devices running iPad OS 13 or later will appear as part of the iPad OS, but any iPad device before that will still be under iOS.
I see.
That's how it will be.
And I know the Mac Catalina, we're doing Mac Catalina support because now Apple is basically flagging any non-signed or signed by Apple. They're flagging that as malware. So how are we taking care of that?
So that was actually a pretty tough nut to crack. So as you mentioned, as you rightly pointed out, so Apple is flagging any software which is just not signed by Apple as a malware. So we wanted to get around that. So what the Apple recommends is that you need to take the software and essentially get it signed and notarized by Apple. So obviously, if you look at it, the way we build an agent package is actually on a ZENworks primary server. So obviously it was not really possible for us to build that package and then get it subsequently signed by Apple. So in this release, what we have done is that we are essentially releasing a new installer, a new ZENworks agent for Mac devices, which will be pre-built and pre-signed by Apple. So there will be only one version which will be available, and unfortunately, that will also mean that you really can't customize it the way you were used to doing it by using pre-deployment tasks. So those things are not possible. But this will be a package which then the customers can, then users can deploy, download, and then it can get installed. So it has a UI. So since right now, what happens is that when you actually say deploy an agent, it already has a certificate built into it. It already knows that which particular URL it is going to talk to. But obviously, if we are actually shipping a pre-built binary package, that's not really going to be possible. So then, as part of that particular app installation, the end user will be asked to specify the ZENworks server URL and so on and so forth. So this is, in some respect, this is the first version, and we are trying to see that, okay, what more refinements we can do. Can we actually support auto discovery? So let's say if you have set out a server, known server, maybe that's something which we can try it out. But those things are something right now not planned for update 1, but in a later release or so. So for the update 1, our goal has been to make sure that we actually have an agent which can work on Mac Catalina and later on. So
I see.
that's what we're going to get.
Can we have you change to your camera and not your desktop? That way we can see your beautiful face, buddy. Nice.
Well, sure for that.
And then, so staying on the Apple side, so I understand there's VPP enhancements now too. So
yes, there's some there've been some VPP enhancements. So I believe some 6 to 8 months back. We are still really trying to figure it out, but what we believe is that something happened, and maybe most probably at the Apple side, but still not sure, that VPP apps on the devices which have been provisioned on the devices won't get updated. So for them to update, an end user would then have to go to the App Store, click on the app, and then only then it will get updated, which we believe was not really the scenario before that. So obviously this was a concern among our customers, and we received a lot of requests on that, okay, this should be fixed, and that's something which we are fixing as part of the update 1. So in this, what we are doing is that we will be periodically checking that whether an app which we have provisioned, whether it has an update available, and if so, we will be making sure that the newest update gets installed on the devices. So end user really need not go to the App Store just to figure out if an update is available or not.
Sure, and then auto updates for apps in update 1, right?
Right. Yeah, that's it.
And let's go to.
And that's what the iOS apps say.
I still see my name in the middle. Go ahead and do your camera. Let's see if we can get your camera so you can get full screen.
Better?
Did it go? I don't see it full screen. You're real tiny right now, man.
Oh. I'm not really sure. Okay, let me just stop sharing.
There you are. There it is. Yeah, there you are. Okay.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for doing that. So performance improvements on device relationship page and the diagnostic page is a big one in update 1. I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have actually done some improvements on our diagnostics page. So when you used to load our diagnostics page, so in some scenarios, maybe most probably in the large customer scenarios, it used to take a lot of time because there was some set of the queries which were running, which just used to run.
Right.
So we went ahead and actually fixed that.
Fantastic. That's great. Yeah, and I know each version you're working on those enhancements and improvements, so performance is better. Patch schedule deployment on shutdown is a great one. Been looking for that for years. I know there's a lot of people that are looking forward to that one. Bundle status in specific scenarios. So what can you tell us how you've enhanced some bundle status? I have that noted down.
Yeah, so there's some minor tweaks which we have done. So as I think we have talked about this thing before, but ZENworks 2020 was really very fixed release, fixed release in terms of the timelines perspective. So we actually had to deliver it by a certain set of the dates. So that's what we were focusing on. So obviously, when when this situation happened, there are certain things which may get missed out. So on the bundle status front, there were some set of the small enhancements which we wanted to do but they just couldn't really make it. So and there were some bug fixes which we wanted to do, so even those couldn't make it at that point of the time. So there are some smaller ones, and unfortunately I don't really have a list of them right now.
Okay.
But we added some column here and there. We fixed data issues. So some data was not coming out right. So we go ahead and fix that. We make some of things more readable. So I believe that there's a place where the messages were not really being shown right, that we went ahead and made sure that those message itself is pretty much visible, added maybe a filter here and there. So some pretty smaller changes, but we believe that will, for the people who are moving on straight away coming to the update one, they won't really notice a thing. But for the 2020 people may notice some things here and there, which will work better.
Well, and I think things like you did is it the install executable or the launch executable that was just recently added in 2020?
That's the install executable.
Executable, which is great. So you don't have to do the launch. You can do the executable prior to. So that's fantastic. And those little details are great to have. We appreciate that. I know the community appreciates them. So I don't have anything else in my list to ask you. Do you have any comments you want to mention to the audience out here?
Just keep on sending your feedback. We value your feedback a lot. So we try our best to make sure that the feedback gets in, and it is with the customers and the partners and the people who love Zen. That's what makes ZENworks a real one. So keep it all coming in.
The ideas portals, the comments, zen@microfocus.com. That's constantly reviewed by you guys. So we appreciate that. Definitely. That's fantastic. Well, good. Vikram, I appreciate your time. I hope it's not too late for you out there, but we're glad to have you here. I don't have anything else as far as a demo. I hope that was helpful to the audience, and I just appreciate you being aboard and being able to come on and show us some of those things.
No problems. I'm really sorry that I didn't pray it enough to demo God. So
no.
Sorry for the fiasco.
It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? I mean, come on.
That's true.
We've all been in that boat. So no, it worked out fine. And I appreciate your time, and be safe out there. Okay. Be sure to be safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. So that was Vikram. So we appreciate him coming aboard. He's product manager for ZCM. And a couple of things for next week. So let me see. Do I have my next week message? Let's see. Where's my next week message? So I guess I don't. Next week, I'm going to be looking into system updates. All right. So you're at 11.4. You're at 2017 update 1. You're trying to get to 2020, right? What are the different things you can do, and how do you navigate through all the displays of documentation, right? You're going from 11.4 to 2020. Do I upgrade my database? Do I need to upgrade my servers? We've been slowly combining the documentation into a nice little format, a matrix, so that you can look at those. It should be done by next week, and I'll display those next week. It's similar to, let's see if I can display it now. Let's see if I got one partly available. Where's my Excel? So this way you can look at this and kind of forecast what you need to do as far as upgrading, right? It makes it a little, I'm hoping it simplifies some of what you need to do. Let me go to display. I'm going to go to my, my chat out of here. And let me open up my Excel. Stand by one sec. Thanks for your patience on that. Where's my Excel? Let me go to new capture. Where's my display? Oh, it's right here. Again. Sorry about the shifting. I got to do a little bit better of this particular. And I want to, right now that's Teams. Let me close that and display 2. There we go. So let me get this a little bit bigger. So if we went to primaries, we're starting to disseminate the information so that we can slowly say currently at 11.3 or 11.4, what's supported? Is it supported out on 2020? If it's not, it won't be listed here. So you notice 2008 isn't supported beyond 11.4, right? So if you're at 11.4 and you're on 2008, you go, okay, I need to upgrade my server, my primaries, right? Or if you're on Red Hat or SLES, right? What's supported, what's not supported. So by making those jumps, it'll make it a little bit easier. This form should make it a little bit easier for you to navigate. What do I have to do with memory as I get bigger? Well, obviously, if you're doing the Vertica database or an appliance, you want to go to 16. You can see that jump here. All right. So this is going to be covered. We're still working on the satellites and the managed devices and the inventoried only, but it should be complete by next week. And we're going to cover those steps along with what do I do managing people from outside. Everybody's working from home now. What's the DMZ? What's the how do I set up my DMZ? I will say that if you go out, they did publish a DMZ documentation. If you go to best practices, just search on best practices for 2020. There's a DMZ configuration. So you can then see your server connections, your zone administration, what to do, what your database is, how you want to set it up, your active sync servers, and so forth. Zone administration, you obviously don't want that primary that's in the DMZ to be a ZENworks Control Center server. You don't want somebody to be patching into that, so you want to disable some of those things. What about your device management, and what about your server management, right? Remote control, your imaging. It has some great information out here that we've published so that you can now start working with that. There's also things like join proxy, remote controlling through the join proxy. You also have service desk. Can service desk remote control someone from the outside? Because service desk ties into ZENworks and then can be out on the outside the exterior of your enterprise and still be remote controlled. So if you're using service desk for the remote controls. So Mark, you mentioned, or Martin, you mentioned development of ZENworks. Is it shifted to Bangalore completely, or is it teamwork between Provo and Bangalore? I'll say it is between both of those. So we have some components are in Bangalore, some components are in Provo, and so we have engineers and developers on both sides of the pond there. So to answer your question, thank you for asking that question. It is still in both. So a lot of the ZCM security is in Provo. A lot of the ZCM type is in Bangalore. But again, they have to talk to each other, right? Because we have a combined agent and everything else. Imaging, patch management is still over in Provo, though they have engineers over in Bangalore doing that. So they've really combined the teams well. But it isn't exclusively one place or the other. We're all doing the complete teamwork there. So Thank you for asking that question. If there's any other questions, Martin. Just responding to Martin directly. Any other questions out there? That's great that we got some questions, some interactions. I'm glad you like the shirt. Hope you like my mask. Be sure to be safe out there. Next week, we're going to be coming up with some more details on system updates and DMZ and join proxy, so be sure to tune in there. I don't have anything else. I don't see any other questions in chat. I will be on chat for another 10 minutes. If you do respond, even with the ending soon sign or ending display on your screen, you could still respond in chat for another 5-10 minutes. So feel free to do so. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Again, zen@microfocus.com. If you're interested in the beta or lighthouse, just glad to have you here. Really want to make sure you guys stay safe. Be sure to be close to your family and social distancing, as you know. If you go out, if you have to go out, take all those precautions. It's really difficult out there. So I appreciate you being here, and you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. Thank you much.